Seems like all buyers at the moment are waiting for this announcement on October 24th about the rate cut, and it looks like it's going to be a significant cut. However, there's one more major news that has come out, and not many people are paying attention to it, which I feel is going to be the biggest game changer for the real estate market in the coming months. And that is the removal of the stress test. If you're a buyer seller looking to buy or sell a home in the near future, my name is Samir. I'm with Remax Aboutowne here in Oakville, and I would love to be of service to you. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we've attached links in our description for you to get in touch with us regarding buying or selling a home. Now back to this video. Whether you're a buyer or seller, this removal of the stress test is going to influence your sale or your purchase, and you should pay very, very close attention to what's going to be happening in the market after this change takes place on the 21st of November 2024. Everybody at the moment is talking about what the rate cuts going to be on 24th of October, and yes, that is big news. Seems like it's going to be a significant cut, and there's going to be another cut coming in December. The other number that the Bank of Canada is sharing with all of us is that inflation has dropped to 1.6%. All these numbers are great, but this inflation number, I don't know how much I believe in it, to be very frank with you. When I go out for dining or buy gas or just local groceries, things are not getting any cheaper. I find things are very, very expensive. To give an example, my wife and I just went to a local restaurant in Oakville, which is not a fine dining restaurant, it's a good restaurant. And a plate of regular pasta is now like $30. Not too long ago, that was like $18, $19. Now, it's nothing earth-shattering, but it tells you though that the cost of everything has gone up. So this 1.6% inflation number, I don't know how they calculate it, and I don't know if I believe much into it. But what I do believe in is that this new change that is coming according to the stress test is going to have a major impact on the market. Now, there's a reason why they are removing the stress test. So if all people believe that the government is trying to kickstart the economy, well, they are, yes. But you should be aware that 30 to 35% of all mortgages are insured, meaning that those are all mortgages where people had put less than 20% down. And if those people see a significant increase to their interest rate, they're going to be in problem. Okay? They may be able to afford the payment, but they're certainly going to feel the pinch. And those were a lot of people who were coming on the market and trying to sell. They couldn't sell because of the prices they had bought at. We haven't caught up to that price yet. Will we? Eventually we will. But 2024 didn't give us those numbers. So why is this stress test so important? So let's say, for example, you bought a home in 2021 or in 2020, and your 4-year or your 5-year rate is now coming up for renewal. When people were getting mortgages during this time, you had to qualify on the stress test, which meant that let's say you were getting a rate of, let's say, 3%. You had to qualify on 2% or higher than that, meaning you had to qualify on 5%. Now, here's where it got tricky. If you have a mortgage and your renewal is coming up and you stay with the same bank, you did not have to qualify on the stress test, which meaning that you did not have to re-qualify on a rate that was 2% more than the posted rate at the moment. However, if you left that bank and you went to another financial institution, now you got to qualify for the stress test again. Well, the Bank of Canada is taking that little edit out of the equation, meaning it is great for people who maybe have had a certain loss of income in the last 4 or 5 years and now are not forced to stay with the bank they're at. They can now shop around. They can shop around for a better rate, for better terms, because they do not have to qualify on the stress test. That does not mean that the bank you're with may not give you or match that rate. They most likely will, because now they also have competition. They can actually lose you because that hook they had in you that, oh, if you leave us, you got to qualify on the stress test, that is out of the window. So that is great for the consumer. This also means that a lot of people who were going to maybe sell because they couldn't afford the home anymore, most likely will be able to afford their homes now. And that is huge. This compounded with low interest rates coming in the next few months and in 2025 and 2026 will make the housing market more affordable for everybody who's already in it and for people who are looking to get into the market. You must always remember that the real estate market depends completely on affordability. The rates will come down to whatever they can, but if the rates are not affordable, if the monthly payments are not affordable for people, the housing market is not going to improve. Now, for those buyers who have been waiting all year looking for a deal and have, played this market in a very, very comfortable zone, you got to rethink your strategy a little bit, because now what's going to happen is all those people who were thinking that I have to come on the market and sell my property because I most likely won't be able to qualify on the stress test if I leave this bank, don't have to come on the market anymore. So I feel that the number of listings, it might shrink actually. At the moment, there's just way too much choice for buyers, way too much choice, right? And let's say after November 21st, someone's on the market and they feel that they're stuck with their bank, but if they can leave their current bank and shop around, they might be able to keep their home. Well, after November 21st, that game's going to change. So the number of listings also might shrink. So you have interest rates coming down, maybe possibly the number of listings shrinking. That only means one thing, that the prices should start going up and there should be some more competition to the market. Now, this removal of the stress test also brings more buyers into the market because more people will be able to afford a home. You do not have to qualify for 2% more than the rate a bank is willing to offer. Tag along with that the increase in amortization for high ratio mortgages. Tag along with that the increase in the principal for high ratio mortgages. This brings more buyers into the market. A dilemma that a lot of buyers had, that they had the income, but they didn't have the down payment. So they were like, well, the market is pretty stagnant. We can save up to basically get into the market. We want to buy a home at 1.1, 1.2, but we do not have that 20% down that we need to basically qualify for the mortgage. Well, those buyers are now into the market. They do not have to wait to save that extra maybe 10% or 5% or even 3.5%, 4% that they were short. But in this whole scenario, it is very interesting how the stress test all of a sudden gets removed from the equation of mortgage finance in Canada. See, the banks are more concerned about those high ratio mortgages. It's very funny. It's irony actually that in a way they're promoting more people who have less than 20% down to get into the market. However, they are changing the rules to protect the ones who got into the market because of high ratio mortgages. So in a nutshell, whatever these rules are, whether these rules are for you as a seller, where you decide, okay, you know what, now I can afford my home, I can keep my home for a little bit longer, let the market stabilize, maybe I can come back to the price that I bought maybe 2-3 years ago, that is great. Or maybe as a buyer, you realize that, okay, you know what, I can finally afford a home, I don't have to have 20% down, I don't have to qualify on the stress test. But I feel that in all of this, every buyer and seller has got to take a mental note about what their real affordability actually is. So yes, the rates are going to start coming down for the next couple of years, but what about after that? I feel for every buyer and seller, after all this turmoil that we have seen in the market in the last 4 years, you got to take some personal stock of your affordability. You just can't let the Bank of Canada dictate terms for your personal finances and your home ownership goals and dreams. Meaning that just because they're getting rid of the stress test, just because they're changing the rules on the amortization, just because they're increasing the limit on insurable mortgages from $1 million to $1.5 million, does not mean that all of a sudden you should be in the market either buying a home or selling a home. You really got to look at what can you really afford. And actually, I would suggest to everybody, in your mind, work with the stress test. I felt that the stress test was great for qualifying buyers to make sure that, listen, if the rates go up a bit, you're still going to be a homeowner and not be looking to selling your property. Where I felt the stress test was a little bit unfair was that if you stay with the bank you're with, then you do not have to qualify on the stress test. However, if you choose to leave that bank, then you got to qualify for the stress test again. Doesn't make any sense to me. A rate is a rate. Whether you're paying Bank A $3,000 a month or Bank B $3,000 a month, what really matters is that you're able to pay that $3,000 a month payment. Now, how will the market behave with all these changes? I don't know. We'll see. This is the first year where interest rates came down and the market slowed down even further because I feel buyers were confident that the rates are going to come down further. And because the market was flat, pricing was flat, they didn't feel an urgency to take action on buying a home. But I feel now that rate cuts are going to be more aggressive. But the main change that's going to be is this removal of the stress test. This is huge. Even if the rates had come down another point, really you only gained a point because you had to qualify on 2 points more than the posted rate you were going to get from your bank. The fact that the stress test is being removed is going to be a game changer for a lot of people, and a lot of people will enter the market and a lot of people will be able to buy homes that they weren't able to buy in 2024. So if you found this video informative, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell icon, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.